made over $50,000 more this March than I did last March. Insane. Hey guys, it's Jance and I'm back again with another video. So today's video is a really special one because I want to tell y'all all the details about how I made $56,000 in the month of March. So today is April 20th and I am still dwelling on what happened last month. And y'all know I am very transparent about my business, about my numbers and things like that. So this video is super special because not only am I going to tell you, how much money I made and the details of that, but I want to tell you about the investment that allowed me to be able to see that money. So one of the biggest things to know about being a boutique owner is that it's expensive. It costs money to make money. This is one of those industries where if you are not spending money, you likely are not making money. You have to spend money on things like inventory, obviously. Depending on your level of marketing, you might be spending money on ads. You might have a team, all types of things. So in this video, I'm literally going to tell you every single amount of money that I spent to make $56,288 in the month of March. So if you guys are interested, stay tuned. All right, so as y'all know, in the boutique industry, the big boutique owners who are thriving in business, they share those pictures of all those orders spread out over the floor. And it's like, oh my God, I can't wait till I get to that point in business. I can't wait till I have so many orders. I can't wait. But oftentimes, we're just really unclear about what it took to be able to make that amount of money or what it takes to be able to just see an increase in your revenue. So the very first thing that I want to talk about in this video is how much money I spent in total. So I am missing a couple things, like for example, how much I paid my employees and my rent. My rent is my rent is $1,400 a month. So I did not factor that in to these numbers. So just thought I'd throw that out there. But even still, I'm still going to share the numbers that I do have. So my biggest expense in the month of March was obviously inventory, because as I mentioned, if you're not buying inventory, you likely are not selling inventory. Or if you're selling out of all your inventory and you're not buying more inventory, then your money just kind of stops. Your cash flow stops. So the number that I'm going to share right now, if you guys see me looking to the right, it's because I am looking at my computer, which is where the numbers are recorded. So my biggest expense was inventory, obviously. So the thing about inventory is that you're buying inventory on an ongoing basis. So the number that I'm about to share now just amounts to how much I spent on the inventory that I sold. So this is my cost of goods sold. So if you ever hear like an accountant or anything like that talking about COGs or cost of goods, they are referring to the amount of money that you spent on the merchandise that you sold. So my cost of goods, or the cost of my inventory that I sold, was $19,836.25. That is how much the inventory cost me that I sold in the month of March. So as you're thinking about, how can I make 10 figures? Not 10 figures. How can I make 5 figures a month? How can I get to my first, $10,000 a month or $20,000, $30,000, so on and so forth? One of the biggest factors that you have to consider is how much inventory do you need to have in order to do that? Along with understanding how much inventory you need to have, you have to understand pricing. You have to have very strategic pricing so that you can project how much money you can potentially make. So based on my pricing of $19,836 worth of inventory, I was able to make $56,288 in the month of March. The next highest expense for me was shipping and the apps that I use on Shopify. So if you guys did not know, my website is hosted on Shopify and I absolutely love Shopify. So the shipping and apps combined, I put those numbers together because when I get my bill from Shopify, it combines them all together. It doesn't show me a separate bill for them. So that amount was $6,563.66. So when I calculated how much it costs to be able to ship all of that inventory out, so all of those orders that I received, I forget how many I received in the month of March, but all the orders that I received, in order to ship them out, it cost me somewhere around, let's say, $6,000 if we're going to take out the apps. So my next highest expense was paid advertising, so social media ads. So I spent $4,979 on social media ads. So these are ads that I ran on both Instagram and Facebook, and they ran for an entire month. So if you guys are learning how to run ads, or maybe you've watched a few YouTube channel or YouTube videos and things like that, oftentimes they will say, you know, start at $5 a day, start at $1 a day, start at $2 a day, all of that good stuff. And, you know, you can see results, which is absolutely true. You can 100% see results spending a small amount of money running ads. Now, when you get to the point where you want to make more money, you want to scale, you want to grow faster, you're going to have to spend more money. So it wasn't that long ago when I was just spending, you know, $5 here, $10 there. That was the case for myself as well. At the beginning of this year, though, I made a conscious decision to invest more money into ads because I wanted to see my revenue grow faster. So March, actually, I didn't mention this, was my highest revenue month to date. Compared to last March, I thought I had it written up here, but I don't. I think I made like $2,000, which is insane. Maybe not even $2,000. I'll put it up here somewhere. I made over $50,000 more this March than I did last March. Insane. So I spent almost $5,000 on paid advertising, and that helped me to make $56,000 in revenue. So yeah, so I won't mention too much about ads. There's not much I can teach you in this short video about ads. Yeah, ads, it's definitely not an easy thing to do or easy thing to process, but once you find something that works really well for you, especially if you run an ad that is performing well, you're getting the type of results that you're happy to see, you want to maximize that. You want to scale. So you want to spend more money on those ads if they are performing. All right. So my next highest expense was my mobile app. So if you did not know, I have a mobile app for my boutique. So basically, someone can literally go to the app store, type in Brazen Boutique, and my app will show up. So it is a free app, but I have to pay for it. So the customer does not have to pay for it. I have to pay for it. My app cost me $1,000 a month. The program that I use for my app is called TapCart. And they have plans that are not $1,000 a month. I wanted the features that came along with the plan that I have, and therefore I upgraded to the $1,000 plan. So yeah, that's my next highest expense, and it's just another sales channel. So I have another place where my customers can shop. And as we get further into this video, I'll also share with you where the revenue was coming from, because that's a really important part to just understanding why these numbers even matter in the first place, and understanding like where to put more time, energy, and money down the line. So $1,000 for my mobile app. The next highest expense was text message marketing. So I spent $328.39 sending text messages to my text list. I believe there are just over 2,000 people on my text list now. So not a ton, but also a very good number of people. And I sent a few texts, not a ton of them last month, but it cost me $328 to send them. I pay per text. I use a Shopify app called SMS Bump. And I believe I pay like 1 cent per text message. It's not a ton at all. And you guys keep hearing me say it's not a ton, and in all transparency, at some point in my business, I thought that this money was a lot. I'm like, listen, I don't have an extra $300 to spend. I don't have an extra $100 to spend. I don't have an extra $1,000 to spend. But when I started to realize, like, these are investments, and basically I'm investing this money to try to see a return on that investment. Once I was able to, switch my mindset around that, it was a lot easier for me to part ways with that money, because I wanted to see what kind of money I would get in return. So that was $328.39. My next highest, or the next expense, was my Klaviyo subscription. So I use Klaviyo for my email marketing. I pay $100 because it is based on the size of my email list. So the less subscribers you have, the less money you pay per month. The more subscribers you have, the more money you pay per month. So based on the number of subscribers I have, I pay $100 a month. And you don't have to pay per email you send. You just pay one flat amount per month, and then you can send as many emails as you would like. So the key is that you have to send emails to be able to make money. Same with text messages. You have to send them in order to make money. The sucky part is that you have to spend some money to be able to make that money. All right, so the last expense that I have is my Shopify subscription. So I currently am on the $79 plan for Shopify. I know a lot of you guys are on the $29 plan. I think there might be one underneath that possibly. But yeah, I'm on the $79 plan and I upgraded to that probably midway through 2020. Once I realized that I was actually paying Shopify more money by being on the $29 plan. And I'll briefly explain. So the $29 plan has one specific processing fee. And then the $79 plan has another processing fee. So credit card processing. So with the $79 plan, it's less. The processing fee is less. It's a smaller percentage. So at some point in my business, I calculated what those fees would look like if I had the $79 plan versus the $29 plan. And I was paying Shopify more money. I was like, this is crazy. So if you are in a space of seeing growth in your business, if you're seeing, very consistent orders, your revenue is going up monthly, I definitely recommend taking a moment to calculate what your fees would look like with the $79 plan versus the $29 plan. Because again, that was one of those instances where it's like, why would I pay Shopify another $50 a month? That doesn't make sense. It made so much sense when I realized, wow, I'm paying Shopify extra $400 a month. That makes no sense. So definitely take a moment to check that out. Okay, so let's get to the good part. So, before I say that, so altogether, when you calculate all those numbers up, my investment for the month was $32,586.30. So out of the $56,000 that I made, I spent $32,586.30. So my profit for the month was approximately, remember I'm missing a couple of expenses. So my profit for the month of March was somewhere around $23,000, which is still 5 figures, okay? Still over $20,000. Very much so proud of that. So I know, like I said, a lot of people speak about the revenue, which is exciting. It is something to be celebrated. Let's not be confused. Revenue is something to be celebrated because that means that you convinced however many people to spend X amount of dollars out of their pockets with you. So I convinced X amount of people to spend over $56,000 with my business last month. That is something to be proud of. So no matter how much money you're making, even if it's not a ton of profit at this moment, you should be proud. So at the end of the day, my profit was somewhere around $23,000-ish, which is amazing still. So now I want to talk to you guys a little bit about those investments individually, not all of them, but where the revenue was coming from. So now that I can see, okay, this is how much money I spent on all of these things, and this is how much money I made at the end of the month. Now going forward for April, again, this is April. Now I need to figure out how am I going to duplicate that? How am I going to see an increase in April? Because again, I was not planning for $56,000 in March. So now, if I want to see more in April, I got to be clear about how I even did it in the first place. So I always like to break down not only how much I spent on all of these different things, but also where the money is coming from. So out of that $56,000, what platforms, what tools, what apps was making me the most money? That's important. So I went ahead and broke down the 4 key ones, and then I always calculate how much of my revenue came from each one of those places or spaces, and then I total it all up to make sure that it equals up to what my total revenue was for the month. So let's start with text marketing. So if you remember, I spent $328.39 on text message marketing. I can't remember how many I sent, so I will not lie and say I sent 5 or I sent 4. I have no idea. But I spent $328. And my return on investment from text marketing in March was $6,424.72. So out of the $56,288 that I made, $6,424.72 of that came as a result of me sending text messages. So we'll mark that down. We know that if I send however many text messages that it was that I sent, I run the risk, or there's potential for me to make over $6,000 if I do that same thing in the month of April. Additionally, I need to have some awareness of what I was selling. So I had this merchandise. It was priced this way. I promoted it in this way. My content looked like this. My caption said this. Let's keep a mental note of that because going forward, we might need to do that again. All right, so that's a little bit over $6,000 of my $56,000 in revenue. Next was paid advertising. So I spent $4,979 on social media ads, and my revenue from that was $28,570.86. So that's a big chunk of my total revenue from last month. That's a little bit over half, actually. I think it's like 51% or something like that. So when I'm thinking, where do I need to put my time, energy, and money next month? It is going to 100% be towards ads. However, I need to know what ads were performing and which ones were not, because the ones that were not, we don't need to do that anymore. We don't need to let those keep going. But the ones that were producing revenue and producing it consistently and producing, a bunch, we got to keep those going. It doesn't make sense for me to turn them off. Even, this is the key, even if that inventory is sold out. The mere fact that whatever content was included in that ad convinced people to click on it is enough for you to keep that ad running. So keep that ad running. And it is up to you as a business owner to make sure that whatever they see when they get to that website is enticing enough to keep them there and convinces them to purchase it. So even if that merchandise is sold out, let that ad keep running if that ad is performing well. So a little bit over half of my total revenue from the month of March came from paid advertising. So next is my Klaviyo subscription. So $100. I spend $100 a month for my Klaviyo subscription. And as a result of me sending text messages, so this is also not only me sending text messages, but also my automations that I have set up. So I have automated emails that go to new subscribers, people who have abandoned their carts, and then a thank you email. So I have all of those emails that are automated, and then I send out campaigns. Campaigns are the emails that you actually create like in the moment and you send out to your subscribers. So like if you have a sale or things of that nature, those would be campaigns. So at my favorite sound. As a result of however many emails I sent, again, I have no idea how many I sent. As a result of me doing that, I made $10,417. So that's my campaigns plus my automations combined. So $10,417. And then lastly is my mobile app. So my mobile app cost me $1,000 a month, and I made $9,171.96 from my mobile app. So a little bit over $8,000 in profit from my mobile app. The thing about the mobile app, actually the thing about all of these, mobile app, email, text marketing, is that you're paying for it, but you have to actually put some energy out there. You have to actually utilize it. You have to send these notifications to people in order for them to come and purchase from you. So not to say you want to send them every day or every minute of the day or every hour or anything like that, but basically the more you utilize it, the more likely you are to see sales as a result of your usage of that. So when I calculate all of the revenue that came as a result of these four tools, text marketing, paid advertising, email marketing, and then my mobile app, when I calculate all of that revenue, it equals up to $54,584.54. So not all of my revenue. Again, that was $56,288, but this is $54,000-ish of that. I can say that I know where $54,584 in revenue came from specifically. So when I'm thinking, okay, how can I duplicate this? I know exactly where I need to go. I know exactly where I need to spend time. So you need to be documenting what's happening in your business. What actions are you taking and what results are you getting from the actions that you take? So just digging just a little bit deeper. Some things that I always like to look at is like, how many times am I posting? On Instagram, I posted 74 times on my Instagram. So if anybody's wondering, how much should I be posting on Instagram? Your schedule is completely up to you. You can post as many times as you want, as few times as you want. You just want to be clear about what you want as a result of you posting. So if you're posting one time a day currently and you're like, oh my God, I don't like what's happening when I post one time a day, let's do 2 times. Let's do 3 times. Let's try 5 times, Try it out, because you don't know what's going to happen until you've done it. So post as many times as you feel like. I do not post every day, in all transparency. There are some days where I post 1 time a day. There are some days where I post 2 times a day. There have been times where I posted 9 times in a day. It just really depends on what I'm trying to have happen in my business that day. So do what you want. Do what you want until you feel like you've seen the results that you would like to see. So again, I like to dig a little bit deeper. So I can say, I spent $4,979 on paid advertising. That was for both Instagram and Facebook. So when I look at my revenue that came from Instagram versus Facebook, and you can see this in your Shopify analytics if you have Shopify. So when I looked at my Shopify analytics, it told me that $11,820 of my revenue came from Instagram, and $16,750 of my revenue came from Facebook. So the tricky part about that is that I can't say, this portion was organic versus this portion was, from advertising. I just go ahead and assume that it's all from advertising. So that amounted to the $28,570 of revenue that we stated from the last portion. So I always like to know just how many times have I posted, what am I seeing as a result of me posting, what am I seeing as a result of me running those ads. That's really important for me personally to know, because I put a lot of energy into Instagram. So if my Instagram is not producing me money, I'm like, we're gonna have to figure this out. Okay, so let's see. So the last thing that I want to share with you guys is just the analytics that I look at on a regular basis on my website. So there's a lot of things that happen on that analytics page, and I will be the first to tell you that I don't know what all of those numbers mean. I don't know how to change or impact all of those numbers, but I do know that there are some that I have more control over than others. So the main analytics that I am always looking at are my online store sessions, my number of visitors, my average order value, my returning customer rate, the total number of orders that I received, the number of add to carts, the total number of products that I sold, and then I always look at, this is not in my analytics, but I always keep record of how many Instagram posts that I shared. So if anybody's wondering, in the month of March, in order to make $56,288, I had 42,977 online store sessions. The number of visitors that I had on my website were 39,058. My average order value was $64.01. My returning customer rate was 41.3%. I had a total of 896 orders. And the number of add to carts that occurred were 2,893. And the total number of products sold was 2,610. So just to briefly go through these, the online store sessions is how many times your website was visited. The number of visitors is how many people visited your website. Your average order value tells you on average how much each customer is spending with you. Your returning customer rate tells you what percentage of your total customers were returning customers, meaning that they purchased from you before. And then the others are obvious: how many orders you got, number of add to carts, number of products you sold. So all of these numbers are extremely relevant to me personally. I like to just have awareness of what to do. What these numbers look like, so that I can figure out what to do with them. So if I can say, based on the fact that I had this many online store sessions or this many visitors and I made this amount of money, basically next month I'm going to do all that I can to make sure that the number of website visitors that comes to my website is more than this. The only way that I can do that is through running ads. I cannot say that if I turn all my ads off tomorrow that my website traffic is going to stay the same or that it's going to continuously increase. That would be an absolute total lie. So I know that if I want to see this same result or more, I'm going to have to spend more on ads. I'm going to have to send more texts, more emails, all of that good stuff, because I need to get people to my website on a more frequent basis. When I look at the number of customers that returned, I also need to know how I got them to return. So did they come from ads? Did they come from emails? Did they come from text messages? Things like that. And you can see kind of figure that information out by segmenting your list so you can see how often or how long ago it was when a person made their last order. And then also just knowing like how many orders I got, how many products I sold. Average order value is really important because that directly aligns with your pricing. So if I can say, okay, I sold 2,610 products, and you know, I need to look at the pricing of those products and say, okay, well, the lowest priced item was this amount, the highest priced item was this amount. So when I get this new merchandise in April, I need to make sure that my pricing either looks very similar to that, or, you know, there needs to be some products that are priced the same or more. Additionally, I like to know if there are any top products. So I don't know if I mentioned in the previous video, when I looked at my inventory numbers for February, I had set a goal to make $20,000 for the month, and just under $20,000 of my revenue came from one product. So when I'm looking at my numbers for the previous month, I'm always asking myself what products made up the bulk of my inventory. So for me in March, there was 5 products that made up the bulk of my inventory. It was like sweatpants, bodysuits, tank tops, and I think right at the end of the month I introduced biker shorts. So those are really important things to know. You want to know how much money you made, obviously. You want to know how much money you spent. You want to know where you spent the money, so on what tools, platforms, all that good stuff. You also want to know what your return on investment was for each of those tools or platforms that you were using. You want to know how many times you posted on Instagram. Was that profitable for you? Did it work out for you or not? You want to know those types of things. You want to know how many people came to your website. You want to know, did all of these actions make sense? Are there things that I need to do more of? Are there things that I need to do less of? Y'all, somebody just spent $10 on my website and I am so confused. Anyway, but you need to know these things, because in order for you to make more informed decisions, and in order for you to get to the point where you can have predictable income, you need to know what's happening in your business. If you don't know what's going on in your business, it's going to be really hard for you to predict what's going to happen in the upcoming months. So really take some time to think about these things. Think about the actions that you're taking. Don't take random actions and expect a specific result. That's one of my favorite things that I teach my clients. You cannot walk into this business and say, you know, my goal is $10,000 next month, but you have no idea what it's going to take to get there. You can't. It doesn't make sense. But it makes so much more sense for me to say, you know, I have a goal of making $60,000 next month, and I made $56,000 the previous month. That's super close. I can literally look at all of this information and make an informed decision about how I could potentially see that increase in sales. Even if you're, you know, at the point where you're saying, you know, I only made $100 last month, or I made $500 last month. Setting a realistic goal is very important, first and foremost, because it really helps you to be able to visualize how you're going to get to that next level. And then once you get there, you can increase your goal, you know, over time. So even if you say, you know, next month my goal is to make $600, you know, on a good day, you might have a really good day and you make, let's say, half of that. And then 3 days later, you make the other half. Now you can increase your goal bit by bit. So you can say, okay, my goal was $600. Now we're going to shoot for $800. Okay, I made the $800. I'm going to shoot for $1,000. Wow, I made the $1,000. We're going to shoot for $1,500. Wow, I made the $1,500. You know what? We're going to go out on a limb and shoot for $2,000. I have so many clients that do that every single month. I wish I'll try to put some screenshots right here. I've had so many clients who send me screenshots and they're like, okay, this is my goal. And then 7 days later, they're like, okay, this is the new goal. And then 7 days later, they're like, okay, this is the new goal. And before they know it, they've hit 5 figures at the end of the month. It's the craziest thing. But it really helps if you set a realistic goal from the beginning and just work towards hitting that goal. Once you hit that goal, it's smooth sailing from there. So I know I did a lot of talking. y'all, if y'all haven't guessed it by now, I don't know how to make a short video. It just does not work for me. So I hope this video was helpful. If you guys have any questions, drop them in the comments. I'll try to get to as many of them as I can, as always. And if you're not already, follow me on Instagram. I share content over there all the freaking time. There's so much content on there. I share tips and tricks frequently. If you guys are interested in working with me, I'll put the link to my 8-week accelerator in the description box. I'll also put the link to my monthly membership in the description box. And yeah, so I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.